Hello, and welcome
to another episode
of the
Lume Plotters.
Yes, we are sitting here in a super cool interview pod.
Yes, super cool. By super cool, we mean it's absolutely tiny, but however, it is almost fully soundproofed.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how soundproofed it actually is.
You will not believe that we're actually sitting inside the Dubai Watch Week main area where all the watch brands are, and we don't hear all of the
nothing
100,000 people.
It's okay. I have to say this, but seriously,
yeah, it is very busy.
They said it was double the size of the old Dubai Watch Week, yet it is packed shoulder to shoulder in the main hall.
It is just absolutely insane. I could not believe it now.
Where do these people come from?
I mean, in the morning when we came, it was relatively relaxed. So let's do a small summary of our first
But
day.
before we do that, we have to say our wristwatch checks.
Okay.
What are you wearing to the first day of Dubai Watch Week?
So since we started our day basically with the AP event, or not event, but the visit of the AP stand, I'm wearing my AP Royal Oak Offshore The Beast current generation on the light blue strap that I bought aftermarket from the AP boutique, obviously original strap, but the light blue strap, which gives it a different white.
Yes. And since we also started our day at AP, I am wearing my Grand Seiko SBGM 221, which was a last minute game time choice for me. I had no idea what watch to wear. I got dressed and I said, you know what, this is the watch I should wear. Yet it's the watch that I wanted to sell the most. So nonetheless, it's fantastic.
It is strange to sometimes see all of the things that are happening and what you're doing, what you're not doing. I have another watch with me. I have the Blancpain Villeret.
Because we're going to Blancpain after this.
No, we're going to Breguet.
Oh, sorry. Same.
I don't have
Same.
Everything is watch. B and V, you know. But since it's a gold watch, it has guilloche, and it's just a bit more high horology.
I don't think so.
It has a moon phase.
It does, but I feel like the AP gets more eyes,
it's just more elegant. So I thought going to Breguet, maybe, because that's our next event we're going to. It's the VIP event from Breguet, where we are seeing the launch.
Well, where Ralph is a VIP and Martin is a stowaway who may or may not get in.
Martin is the +1. And we are going there to see the CEO, Mr. Kisling, present to us a 250 years anniversary piece celebrating the anniversary of Breguet, together with, I think, somebody very high up from the Swatch group. And it's going to be interesting. We see it happens, and this is, you guys, will experience it in the next episode then, or in the next tidbit that we will just put in a podcast. They required cocktail attire.
Yeah, which we are neither of us wearing.
Running around Dubai Watch Week at 32 degrees outside and probably 18 degrees inside is not where you want to wear a tuxedo or a very,
of course,
full dress. And the ladies will not wear cocktail.
And you will look like an idiot going into Dubai Mall, wearing cocktail attire.
The one thing that we didn't mention is this event is, of course, not part of Dubai Watch Week.
No. I do have to. Okay, two things now that you mentioned this. Swatch seems to love to ride the coattails of other events, right?
Yeah.
So they do this with Watches and Wonders, Geneva Watch Days, all of these things, and they kind of just get in right in front. Remember, the first launch of the Moon Swatch was done the same way, right? So in this sense, yesterday night, I turn on the TV around 9-10 p.m. and what do I see? The new Omega Planet Ocean has launched.
Yes.
Literally hours before Dubai Watch Week starts. And, coincidence? I think not.
Nah, you're right. I don't think it's I think they're just trying to steal this thunder to a certain extent, or just try to drag people away to us. I don't know.
But they did this with the Moon Swatch already.
As you said, maybe they actually just trying to benefit from all the people being here for the Watch Week already, and then saying, okay, let's come over here.
But
it's a few hundred meters.
It is, and they have an event as well with RJ from Fratello magazine at the Omega boutique for the launch of this watch as well. In the same way, now we're gonna see something from
But so for now, we should focus on what we have seen
Yes.
at Dubai Watch Week, because that is the organizer. That's why we're here. And we have press credentials, which means we could attend lots of these panel discussions and all of the other things, which is very, very helpful. Still, we have to register for them, but it's like everybody else, but it's really good. We get access to interviews and other things that we can do with people here from the attendees.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see some interesting summaries or even sound
A
bites
lot to
from-
talk about today, right? So let's start the day with when we came in.
When we came in, we walked through the overall brand
The
area,
main hall.
the main hall where all of the smaller brands are that don't have their own. It doesn't mean they're not necessarily smaller brands.
No. Like
They're
Ulyss Nardin and a few of these are fairly big brands, but they didn't have their own
just stand.
stand.
Yeah.
No. They had a booth, but not a full
Yeah.
hut or whatever you want to call it.
Sometimes they are like hundreds of square meter big, right? They are such big
Yeah.
amounts. Like the AP stand is basically like, I don't know how big it is.
Oh, the AP
1,000
stand
square
is
meters or
about
more?
1,000 square meters. It's
just
huge.
gigantic.
I didn't. It's pronounced gigantic.
Gigantic.
I know for your German speakers, it's hard to say.
Gigantic.
And it's not gigantic, yeah.
Gigantic.
But
Gigantic.
nonetheless, it is huge. And when we walked through it today, I was bored of AP halfway through.
It was
It
only
was
AP. That's,
ridiculous how much AP there was.
but since we went first to the main area, we saw, what is it? His name, Chaikin.
Yeah, Konstantin Chaikin
Konstantin
came in
Chaikin.
giving cookies away.
We saw Nico Leonard.
We did see Nico Leonard in a suit that was too small.
No, maybe he just grew a bit.
Maybe he grew sideways a bit.
It's okay.
But then we ran
it's
into a few
Italian,
people. But we came in, yeah, very Italian. We came in, and then so apparently half of Germany is here.
Yes, half of Germany of the Caliber Watch Club is here, which I'm a member of. So that's of course fantastic. I saw so many people from
Yeah.
the watch group that I've never seen in person. Some of them I've seen in person before because they are frequent visitors.
And the watches of the Caliber Watch Club,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ Almighty!
Yeah,
Like,
from-
oh my God! Like, wow! What in the hell? There were some heavy hitters. LUC Chopards. We had actually
Eagle.
quite a few Chopards. We had an Alpine Eagle with an Arabic dial, Alpine Eagle
No,
with
that was a Gerard Perregaux.
a Gerard Perregaux Laureate with an Arabic dial. We had Daytonas. We had all kinds of ridiculousness from the German constituency.
I would say they brought their A game.
They
which is
definitely
really
did.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's lovely to see.
But while Ralph was speaking in German to all of these, I went away to the Roger Smith stand, who literally has a stand the size of a park bench. And Roger Smith was standing there. And Roger Smith was busy. I wasn't going to bother Roger Smith, right? Like, I feel like that guy is too important to be bothered. So I started talking to whoever else was at the stand. There was one other guy. And the guy was apparently one of Roger Smith's proteges, like the apprentices. And he was a watchmaker. And he was saying, so this year we're making 20 watches. And I'm just like, gee, 20 watches in a year? That's,
Yeah, but I think they are costing about $250.
They're
350,000,
ridiculously expensive, yeah.
And they're all made to order. So
They are, exactly. So I was chatting with this guy because I thought he was just a salesman, but in fact, he was one of the watchmakers, which was fantastic. So I talked to him for quite some time while Ralph was speaking German to the Germans. So first thing I said was like, so George Daniels is your grandfather. And he's like, technically you could say that because George Daniels had Roger Smith as an apprentice.
Yes.
And then Roger Smith now has this guy as an apprentice. And he was saying that, we have 6 of us watchmakers working for Roger Smith. And these are the watches that, we make. And he was showing me the watches. And I said, so can you identify the watches that you make? And he said, yeah, of course. He said, I know by serial number which watch I made.
Yeah, and which parts I made for which
No.
watch.
Fully made by one person. Each watch is made by one person from beginning to end. So I asked him all of this.
This is the Daniels method.
Exactly. So essentially, he said that they have a team of engineers. I don't know what a team means in their terms, but I'm assuming it's like 3 or 4 people that CNC the parts. Then the parts are given to the watchmaker. The watchmaker then has to finish, assemble, and put everything together and decorate. So he said from raw parts to the finished product is all one person. He said he makes about 3 watches a year.
Isn't that lovely that you actually be able, and here at Dubai Watch Week, you can actually come, pick up your watch. I mean, you can probably do this in the Isle of Man as well, where they're located.
Yeah.
But you meet the person who spent a third of a year
Working on a watch.
on your personal watch. And I think that's one of the things that made so many people go in that route, if they are in that level, that they can spend so much money on a watch, because it's so personal, and it's also something, I don't know, it has a different level.
But Roger Smith, but on top of this, he said specifically that, he works, he said, for instance, he said, look at this bridge right here. He said, I black polished this bridge, and this could take 3 days to black polish this one bridge.
Yeah.
So and that's the difference between him and somebody at, for instance, another watch manufacturer, which they will be working on a single part.
Yeah.
These guys do everything. And he told me, and I love this idea, he said, by the time I start the next watch, I have forgotten how I started the first watch to begin with. So I have to relearn what I did at the beginning because I was so far removed from it, because it was a third of a year away.
Oh, yeah.
So he said that I got to relearn what I did at the beginning.
It's the absolute opposite of the, let's say, the conveyor belt construction. Right?
And this is what I told him as well.
You do the same thing again.
Yeah.
We have to also say, tell our listeners, if they don't know, Roger Smith is the prodigy of George Daniels, who was the inventor of the
coaxial escapement.
And Roger Smith did improve about it. I think it's 2009, I have to ask him, 2009, 2010, and he made it into a single disc coaxial escapement. Is not yet used by any other manufacturer than Roger Smith, as far as I know. Omega is using the coaxial escapement in all their watches. So that's one of the things they use. It has the benefit of extending the service life, reducing friction, and doing another couple of things, which is also a story for another podcast, I think, how he tried to sell this solution to the Swiss watch companies.
He did. No one wanted it.
Nobody wanted it, except Omega.
On top of this, another funny story about Roger Smith. So story goes, he was gifted a Rolex Explorer from his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that the movement wasn't good enough. So he ripped the movement out, put a coaxial escapement in it, and put it back in the watch. So apparently to this day, he's wearing only a Rolex Explorer with a coaxial escapement.
Since we have an interview booked with him, we will ask
him. And the funny thing was, meanwhile, this watchmaker, would you like to hazard a guess at what watch he was wearing?
I have no clue. But
a Garmin smartwatch. No way. Because remember, Roger Smith always says, these watches are not for me. They're for the clients. And they're too expensive for me to actually keep one.
Oh.
Which is ridiculous to think that he makes these, but he wouldn't actually keep one.
There's so many things I want to ask him about this isolation in the Isle of Man, because it's a very sparsely populated place. I mean, on the other hand, I think it has huge benefits because it's so calm and peaceful and quiet.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's, so removed from everything, right? Can you imagine, a watchmaker of his caliber coming up in a city like maybe Dubai or New York or something, because it's so busy and so hectic and all of this stuff? Do you have the time to, just focus on a single part for multiple days?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And just watch this, maybe hear some sheep maying somewhere.
I know.
Around.
It's so cool. Yeah. And then once a year, the motorcycles, because they have the Isle of Man TT on
the super race.
Yeah, the motorcycle racing,
which is completely insane. If it just watch that on YouTube.
Yes,
Isle of
it's
Man,
nuts.
Motorcycle, it's the most bizarre thing you see.
So imagine brick walls and motorcycles at like 300 kilometers an hour, like 2 centimeters from the brick walls.
It's not sped up. This is the real speed.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Now, all right, after I talked to him, we went over to another booth that Ralph actually joined me at, which was the Colloquium booth.
Yeah, which is absolutely fantastic. I mean, these watches you have to see in person, and this is the place to go.
Yeah.
In Dubai Watch Week, we spoke with all 3 founders of the company and the head designer of the watch. Fantastic. We will do an interview with him, or with them, with all of them. Inshallah, if it works out. And fantastic people, fantastic watches. They just released the last one, which was sold out quite quickly. I was on the verge of buying one, but then because it's light blue And I thought light blue is sort
your
of
color.
my color. And I thought, that's great. But yeah, then I decided not to, and it was sold out.
Well, I've heard of, the first time I heard of Colloquium was through our own podcast when we had Julian
Yes.
on here, and he talked about, if you recall, I don't think anybody remembers this far back, but we talked about a 5-watch collection if you had X amount of money, and he said the watch that he would never give up would be his Colloquium. And I'm like, what the hell is a Colloquium? And I looked it up.
And he wore it.
And he wore it for the podcast, actually. And I looked it up, and I was like, wow, that is super cool. It's a 40 millimeter little watch, 38.5 technically at the crystal and 40 millimeters at the base. But they're little steel pins covered in lume, like not just covered in lume, but like freaking drenched in lume.
Are they actually made of lume? Like
no, steel. They're steel pins that pop out, and then they're like it's a 3-dimensional dial, and essentially, so yeah, they had a number of these here, and they were quite nice.
And then he showed us the previous version of this watch, which was actually a with purple lume, and they said that they actually used more than the year's production
of purple lume in the world.
I think it was Super Luminova purple lume that they have actually produced.
So he mentioned this. He said on average, a normal watch has 0.1 grams, I believe, of lume on it. They use 2 grams of lume per watch, and apparently 1 gram of lume costs 60 Swiss francs to purchase.
It's quite expensive.
So 120 grams just in lume on this watch, which is absolutely euros. No, it's Swiss francs.
That's Swiss francs, yeah.
Which I don't know what the current exchange rate is. But probably 1-to-1.
It cost price is a lot of money because you have to consider how that you have to multiply it by 3 or 4.
Yeah, and this was a purple dial, and it was so cool. Yeah. It's cool. I loved it.
It's a really, really lovely watch. And we see both of us think that there is a Colloquium in our future. Another interesting story that we learned is that the designer actually did design a lot of watches for other companies. He called himself a ghost designer. Yeah, somebody who designs for other companies. So basically, the entire founding team is very experienced in watchmaking. They all have some kind of watchmaking expertise, came together, founded Colloquium, and released these limited edition watches every year.
And the funny thing was, when 2 of them don't agree on the design, they make both, which was super cool. So one guy said, no, the hands should be white. The other guy said, no, the hands should be blue. And guess what?
They made 2 versions of it.
2 versions, one for each designer,
and
which
I
think is
sure
fantastic.
They have a little bet running of which one
sells more. Yeah. But this sounds like Unimatic, kind of like the little rivalry. Yeah. So that was super cool. I enjoyed that.
So who else did we meet? Just to wrap this up before. I mean, we met Britt Pierce and Adrian.
No. Pause. Before we even met Britt Pierce and Adrian Barker, we went to AP House.
Right, we went up here. But the thing is, with AP House, we have to finish the story then, and we have to move on because we have the next appointment booked. We are so stressed. I have never had a calendar that packed. So we saw
John Mayer.
John Mayer,
and I thought John Mayer was at the AP, boutique, or at the booth, I should say, not boutique, as an ambassador for AP. No, he was there as like a random person looking just like we were. And I thought, I went and talked to him because I had to. And I said, John, like, are you with AP here? He's like, no. He's like, I'm just walking around like everyone else. And he was so down to earth. He was such a nice guy. I talked to him like 15 minutes. And then what was funny was he said, you want to see my favorite watch? And as soon as because I told him, oh yeah, I've been a fan of your music from way back, and I said that actually the first thing that I realized that I wasn't the only idiot that was into watches was your first talking watches. Yeah, and that was in 2014. And I said, I even showed my wife, and I said, look, Christy, like John Mayer likes watches, so I'm not crazy. And that was exactly what I said, and I told him this, and then he's like, yeah, back then it was a very introverted hobby, like no one shared this, right? You're a hermit if you liked watches. So then he got very excited, and then he said, come, I'll show you my favorite watch in the whole place. And he showed me this Star Wheel from like 92. Right. And the previous version of the Star Wheel, which now they have in the 1159 case, they apparently had a star wheel way back when. And he said, look, this is the cleanest watch that AP has ever made. And he's like, the new one sucks. This is the one. This is the one.
No, I think.
And essentially, it was 3 plexiglass, like little plexiglass plastic discs that were circular. He said the new ones are black; they're not see-through.
That's correct.
So the problem is you can't see the watch itself through them.
Yeah.
So he was showing me this, and then I told him I wish the Remaster 02 was in the original size, which they had one in the original size there. And he said, absolutely. And he was very, very excited about all this.
So while we were still, looking at all the exhibits, and he was moving a bit faster than us, or was ahead of us in any case. So he ended up in the cafe area. There's also Ilaria Resta was there, CEO, so you could actually walk up to her and have a chat. Lots of other influencers and people, and of course customers of AP were there. And he actually took his
I heard.
We were told by
we weren't there.
Our Caliber Watch Club fans and colleagues, basically our friends. So Marco told me that he took his guitar.
There was a guitar on the wall.
His guitar on the wall. And he took it and just
started playing something.
Jammed a bit with his guitar, and then gave some people a small little taste of his talent. And I mean, it was really fantastic. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this. And this could have happened to every normal person, because everybody can go and visit the AP stand.
I have to say this. Ralph had an appointment. I did not.
Yeah.
I made an appointment on the spot, and they let me in.
Exactly. And it took just 20 seconds longer for you to get in than
exactly.
me. So it was absolutely, everybody can come in and had the same experience that we had. This is what Dubai Watch Week is about. I think it's so incredible that you meet all of these people.
So then we went to
and
Tudor.
Yeah, okay.
We're finished with Tudor, okay? Tudor. We went to Tudor. In Tudor, we saw Adrian Barker, first and foremost. And then on his tail was Britt Pierce.
Yeah, so we talked a new podcast together, right?
Yeah, they have a new podcast, exactly.
And
but the biggest thing that I saw today, we walk into Tudor, and there's a white Tudor Ranger sitting there. And I in the case, and it said, in the spirit of the Dakar Rally, blah, 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 white Tudor Ranger. I'm like, it's a shame it's a 39 millimeter. Like, I really wish, Ralph, it was a 36.
Yeah,
and I walk over, I would buy this. And I walk over to the other side of the table, and it said, now in 36 millimeters. All the Tudor Rangers are black and white now in 36 millimeters.
And we couldn't believe it because we heard nothing about it. And then, of course, we asked one of the salespeople there, a lovely guy from which I bought my bronze Black Bay 58, by the way. And he said, that was released a long time ago at
10:30 in the morning, this morning.
Like
and then who walks in? Cole Pennington, which we kind of were like, Hodinky, Cole Pennington. And then we realized, wait, he works for Tudor now.
For 3 years?
For 3 years. He's been living in Switzerland working for Tudor. And we told him our wish list of what watches we wanted. And I said the 36 millimeter Ranger was on my wish list. Ralph wanted a what?
And I want the big block. I want the in-house chronograph from them. I mean, I love their chronograph. I had the chronograph, the first version, the very first Tudor chronograph, which is the Breitling B01 Tudorized version. But it's absolutely fantastic to see this one only watch version of it, which they brought out. And I want that watch in steel, of course, for the masses. But he said, maybe in a while. Right.
In a while. And he said, and I said, I want a Pelagos 39 in a new color. And he said, let's talk next year.
Yeah.
Which to me says it's in the works. We'll see.
It's a very, of course, he has to be vague. He can't tell us anything in detail. But
he was very positive to what we said.
It gives us hope that, we are on the right track with what we want.
I think so. And the fact that I nailed the 36 millimeter Ranger.
Yeah.
I didn't think white. I did not think white. I thought 36 for sure.
Yeah. And Cole Pennington was wearing that watch, obviously.
Yeah, he gave it off his wrist to me.
You could try his watch, and it was really nice to see that actually I like the normal Ranger, the 39. I had the watch when it came out. I bought it immediately. I had to sell it because something else came in, and I still miss it. I love that watch. I recently just checked some, pre-owned versions of it, and I must say, in 36, it looks more harmonious. Because I think the proportions fits better.
He said this specifically. He said it's
negative
less
space,
negative space, and that's what I think it is.
It just looks nicer. Maybe not for my wrist, but I think the watch itself looks a bit better in 36 than it does in 39.
I think one more thing before we go, because this is gonna be a short podcast to begin with.
Yeah, and
but let's finish with the last thing. Oh, who else came in? You can say that story. I was going to go into the Breitling story.
Yeah, Majid Siddiqui came in. The
actual Siddiqui. Not the sons, the actual Siddiqui.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's his father who founded Siddiqui. He ran it for the last 75 years.
Yeah.
Basically, now his son is taking over.
With who?
With who? Yeah, with
the Rolex CEO.
The Rolex CEO, Frederick Dufour.
And the fact that they were in the Tudor boutique and not the Rolex boutique was
he just walked over. They had maybe a meeting or something.
But why in the Tudor boutique?
I don't know either. But it was very interesting to see these two, and I must say that we really were fascinated that we stood just 2 meters next to this Rolex CEO and. Obviously it was not the right time to strike up a conversation.
No.
But
they were busy.
So,
but last thing. We went to a Breitling talk, and that was the absolute last thing that we've done.
Yeah,
we went to the Breitling talk, and the CEO of Breitling, George Kern, told us the plans for Breitling. Apparently, they are no longer just Breitling. They are now called the House of Brands, which reminds me, for those of you living in UAE, of Brands for Less. It's a very silly name, but nonetheless, they are now 3 brands, not just 2. We knew that they bought Universal Genève, but now they have one more brand, which is what? Gallet.
But we know this as well because that was announced a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it was a couple of months ago, but I never
a bit more details, which we will go into details in the next episode and talk a bit more about what it means, which price level,
how they're doing it exactly, because they apparently there is strategy to the madness, right?
Yeah, there is.
They're apparently starting with Gallet as the lower end, Breitling in the middle, and then of course Universal Genève at the top.
Details next time because there's a lot. It was a 1-hour talk and we learned a lot from George.
We did.
So it was really, really interesting to hear him talk there.
Anyway,
that
was day 1. We apologize for the extremely short podcast, but we have to run. So we'll see you guys. We decided we're not going to just infiltrate you with 1 million episodes a week. We will stick to our once a week podcast.
Yeah. And get you a couple of tidbits of,
as we go along,
sound bites of the interviews we do as well. So you will hear from us, and
I know as on a regular weekly basis. So we will hear from you, or we will see you, or we will hear you. You will hear us, whatever it is, next week.
Thank you, and bye bye.